And right now what I'm going to demonstrate is when I turn the key on, it primes and then immediately drops. So we're hooked up here at the test port. Our supply line and our fuel line, our return line are both hooked up. So right now we're at 0. I'm going to turn the key on, and it pumps up and falls. And turn the key on, it pumps up and falls. Turn the key on, pumps up and goes all the way to 0. Key off, key on. What I should mention is I already replaced the fuel pump with a brand new AC Delco fuel pump. I think it was a MU 1738, I believe. And I believe the 2002 and 2003 5.3 liter Chevy engine has the fuel pressure regulator on the fuel rail right here, and it was replaced as well. Check the vacuum line going from here to here, from the intake to the fuel pressure regulator, and it has no cracks or anything. Right now I'm checking the fuel pressure. I suspect that I've got a bad check valve in my fuel pump, so I want to isolate that as the problem. So what I've done is hook my fuel pressure gauge up to the fuel supply line out of the fuel pump. It's running down here to my gauge, which you can see is 0. So I'm going to go over here and turn the key. I'm going to turn the key on right now, and you can see that it goes up. I'm going to turn it off, turn it back on, off, and back on again. So the maximum pressure of it is about 85 pounds, and it is holding, so that means that the check valve is in fact good on the fuel pump. I'm going to hit the release valve here, and it goes to 0, so we know our gauge is good. Okay, so we're going to do one more test here. We got the return line pulled off, and we've got it capped off with a Schrader valve on the end, and then we've got this hooked up to our test port with our gauge just sitting at 0. I'll turn the key on. And we got 30 pounds. Turn it on and off a few times and get that pressure up. There it goes. We're at 80 pounds and holding. So now we're going to take the Schrader valve and bump it. We're just going to push it in and see what happens to the gauge here. And I hit that. Hold it all the way down. Gas is just coming out of the Schrader valve down here, and it dropped out. So that, I'm not sure yet, but I think that may mean that we have a bad pressure regulator. Alright, earlier I was losing fuel pressure. After it primed up, it goes straight to 0. I replaced the fuel regulator, and it still did it. Then I replaced the fuel pump, and it still did it. And so then I determined that I must have a bad pressure regulator. took it back, got a new pressure regulator, primes up, and now it's been holding at earlier it was about 55 psi, and after 10-15 minutes it's still holding it at 50 psi. So the problem from the very beginning was a bad pressure regulator, and then I was sold a brand new one, still sealed in the bag, and it was bad. Replaced it, and now everything's good again.